All right, hello and welcome to our second edition of IT Leaders Collaborative. We are excited we're gaining momentum and building a community of IT leaders that all have the same types of problems to solve. And working together and collaborating, hopefully we can solve them. So right now, we're bringing we've got a full cast of different partners that we're bringing to the table to try and contribute. But by all means, as you engage with the LinkedIn community, we hope you join that. Please ask questions or engage, or if there's content you're seeking or solutions you're looking for, we'd love to hear that comments and questions and be able to engage and see if we can bring those folks to the table. So today we have Field Effect, one of our partners that has a pretty unique and complex, sophisticated, but yet they've made it simple tool to help deal with a lot of the complex landscape of security. I think one of the things you guys tout, and if I'm saying it wrong, correct me, but it's like 15 different security tools in one. I think that's one of the challenges that IT folks are faced with is the sprawl of all the different solutions and tool sets that they have to manage and become experts in and get good at. And so today we've invited Field Effect to talk about their solution. Also, we really try and hit on like what's new, what are some of the updates, maybe a little roadmap, but not so much roadmap because we want to show and tell more than just like do a PowerPoint, but also like what are some of the use cases or like commonly maybe overlooked features. Sometimes, Ted, I'm going to challenge you with that later, and I'm going to give you that seed to plant right now, because sometimes there's such cool capabilities inside of tools that don't get used because people just don't know about them. So we're hoping through these sessions to bring those kind of things to light. So welcome, Sean and Ted from Field Effect. Take it away, Sean.
Awesome. Thanks, Nate. Awesome to be here. Looking forward to kind of, showcasing Field Effect and our MDR solution here today in this discussion. What we're going to do here just to kind of kick things off is just, as Nate mentioned, we don't really want to do a full PowerPoint presentation here, but we do want to give everyone the opportunity to understand, why Field Effect before we jump into more of a technical demo here with Ted Raymond. So I'm going to go ahead. My screen is shared. The agenda for today is pretty simple. So, one, we're going to talk a little bit about, how threats have basically evolved and how SMEs are at risk. I think everyone is really aware of this today and how threats have evolved and what's at stake, and why, managing risk is so important today for SMEs. Two, going to focus a little bit on, uh, challenges within cybersecurity. I think it's really important to kind of bring that to the fore and have a conversation around that. And then finally, we're going to talk a little bit about Field Effect MDR and a new grade of cybersecurity. So that's when we're going to jump into more of a technical demo. Ted's going to take everybody through, showcase the tool, and obviously if there's questions, we look forward to hearing them. So a little bit of what about how threats have evolved, right? So big thing is going to be around network complexity, right? You have hybrid work environments now, a lot of remote people working at home, working in different locations. In addition to that, BYOD. You have a lot of organizations where you allow people to bring their own devices. How do we protect those devices? How do we, gain visibility into those devices is going to be super important as well. And then obviously the cloud, right? Where more and more and more times now we are seeing, adding cloud. So we need to ensure that, there's protection there as well. Two is going to be scalability, right? So automated threats, targeted lists, higher attack volume. It's really more easier now than ever for people to get attacked. So we need to ensure that we're staying on top of that, which is massive, and we'll talk about that a little bit later today. And then increased motivation. Uh, it's simple to buy lists now on the dark web. It's bigger than ever to make money now, as a threat actor. So we want to ensure that we're stopping, all these threat actors in their tracks, not giving them the opportunity to pick easy targets and make money off of them. So, what we've seen and what a lot of our partners, have told us as well is that today's cybersecurity tooling out in the market, a lot of these tools, unfortunately, are incomplete, right? And I think that's a big thing that we need to focus on. As Nate talked about already, we take the approach of allowing or consolidating a massive list of tools, 15 plus tools, excuse me. Ted will review a lot of that today once he goes through the demo, but I think that's super important for us to identify here. Two, a reactive approach to cybersecurity. Why is that important? It's important to know the threats that potentially pose your environment, and can we be a little bit more proactive than reactive? And what I mean by that is, if there's already a threat actor within your environment, it's too late. We need to make sure that we're doing things proactively to keep them out, in the first place. And the last thing is siloed. So taking an approach of having multiple tools within your stack to approach cybersecurity. So can we focus more on maybe a holistic approach to cybersecurity where we're consolidating multiple tools into one tool to protect you and your client base? And finally, let's talk a little bit about field effect. So we're going to talk about kind of our approach, and I've already discussed this a little bit, of proactive risk management. A lot of SMEs today don't know what they don't know. And what I mean is they just don't know what's wrong within their environment potentially. So, can we take a proactive approach to cybersecurity where we're identifying things that they might not be aware of? And now we're taking a completely different approach to cyber where we could be more proactive and managing risk. Two, can we detect, threats a lot faster? So, in real time, can we understand what's going on and bringing those to the fore? And then obviously the last one, which is massive in my opinion, is gaining access to 24/7, world-class cybersecurity analysts. And that's what we provide here at Field Effect. This in total is really, how we approach things. I'm going to pass it over to my colleague now, Ted Raymond, who's going to jump into a demo of our solution today. And then we'll, actually make this a little bit more conversational. And we'll talk about some key moments throughout the demo where we've seen a lot of use cases and how our technology has been successful for a lot of our partners and customers today. Ted?
Thanks, Sean. And Nate, Nick, Jeff, Stephanie, Taryn, thanks so much for the invitation, and hope this works out. Please interrupt with any questions. I can talk about our solution for 15 minutes. I can talk about it for 7 hours. If you don't stop me, that's what's going to happen. So the first good news from my end, no PowerPoint, so happy Wednesday. Here we go. This is our communications portal. So to see under the hood, and those of you who are on the call, those of you who are watching it post-call, you're partners with MyTech, which means you're probably in a co-managed environment. This is our communications portal, right? We're the security team. You're all the IT team. If we're working together, we need to communicate. That's it. Remember, this great technology, and I'll talk about the 15 tools we're replacing right now, is backed by our 24/7 SOC. And that 24/7 SOC is located in the Five Eyes. That is the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. That's it. Trusted nation states. That's where our SOC is. So I'm going to log in here. This is our communications portal. Of course, we support single sign-on with Azure AD or Google, but I'm going to log in with my own account. And the first thing it's going to ask me for here is my multi-factor authentication. Show of hands, you can reach out in the chat. You can write us an email. You can send us a chat. I want to know if you are enabling multi-factor authentication. I think you are. Good job. I'm using my Microsoft Authenticator here, but you're using anything that's compatible with RFC 6238. Google, Authy, Duo. I have all those on my phone. They all work. Excellent. Once I'm logged in, and this is just my demo system, you can see there's a big blue banner, demo system on the top. We're multi-tenant. So right now, what you're seeing is you're seeing Nate and Nate's team's view of the portal. It is multi-tenant. So if you're in a co-managed environment, you're one of these. I've got 3 of you in my portal right now. So let's go and dive into one of these right now. I'm going to go and dive into one of these customers. And there you go. This is what you look like from Mitek's perspective. It's what you look like from our perspective. And I would invite you to put in the chat what the first word that comes to mind is when you see this portal, right? What is the first thing, without knowing anything about it, what's the first word that comes to mind? Why do I want to know this? It's important for me. I feed that back to our UX team, right? We're continuously improving everything all the time. And your word is gonna help me out. What we're looking for here is we're looking for simplicity. Complexity is the enemy to cyber. That's it, right? Even down to this diagram, this is not a physical Visio diagram of your network. This is a logical representation of your 3 threat surfaces. And that's what you have in common with every other company on the call, every other company in the planet, actually, right? You have 3 threat surfaces. And the way we win here is we're actually doing 6 major things over the 3 threat surfaces. That's how we win, okay? So if you do the math, 3 times 6 is 18. There's 15 plus tools that we're replacing or consolidating or helping with. So your 3 threat surfaces, first is the endpoints. You have computers. Of course you do. You have laptops, servers, workstations, VMs. There's agents going across your whole environment. And you actually want to pepper those agents as much as possible, right? Anything that can take an agent gets an agent. There you go. Yes, you're protected against ransomware. But we're also looking for indicators of bad behavior. What if I find a team viewer on this laptop? Is that normal? Yes or no? Probably not. Maybe it is. In any case, we're bringing it to the forefront. We're going to be letting Mitek know. We're letting yourselves know as well, because if you didn't install it, someone else did. Awesome. Next is the cloud. If I look at the cloud, when you get onboarded, you're setting up a subset of these 10 integrations. Okay, the 2 big ones are Microsoft and Google. Chances are, my little finger is telling me here that you are in one of those for your mail, right? That's where your mail is. It's where your files are. So guess what? With those 2 major tenants, we also offer active response, which means when push comes to shove, we'll be locking out accounts. Watch this. I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to flip screens. I'm going to go into a data sheet coming from our knowledge base portal. And the knowledge base portal, anyone who has access to the portal has access to this document. Here are 22 things that will cause us to want to possibly lock out an account from Microsoft or Google, right? There could be new or suspicious login rules created on the account. Maybe there's an impossible travel. I'll show you this live example in 2 seconds. But there could also be, for example, someone using their MFA backup codes. Who even knows on this call, and I'll challenge you, who knows where their MFA backup codes are? Aha. I'm sure there's people who don't know. So guess what? If you're using your backup codes, it's probably not yourself. Okay, just saying, there's a lot of stuff going on there in the cloud. We're looking at all that. We'll also look at other cloud environments. We have integrations to Salesforce, AWS, Okta, Duo, Dropbox, Box, Zendesk, ServiceNow. This list grows over time. It's always included. Why is that? Because if we're putting something in the feature set, it's available to the people who are already using it because it makes you more secure. And that's our job. Okay, easy. Now, a lot of stuff going on in the cloud. So when we look at what's going on in there, what we're not going to do is give you 1 million alerts. If I gave you 1 million alerts, we lose the game. Okay. So I'm going to actually correlate with the endpoints and the cloud and look at the intersection of those 2 threat surfaces. That's super important. Amongst other things, it allows us to greatly reduce the noise of tickets we're giving to Mitek and to yourselves. Easy. And then the 3rd threat surface is the actual network. So normally we're putting this physical appliance inside your network. Okay. This physical appliance, 7 times out of 10, it's an actual physical appliance that goes into your environment. Why is that? Well, sure, we use logs at the network level, but logs can be fake news. They can, they can be delayed, they can be modified. What's true is the network, you can't lie, right? What's bits on the wire, that's why we look at every packet going to and from the internet. We sit pre-NAT behind the firewall, looking at everything going to and from the internet. Every single week, for one of you, for a customer like yourselves, we're finding data trickles going off to Italy or to Russia. Great. When I tell you about it, you say, and my tech will say, hey, Italy's fantastic place, but not for my customer's data. It doesn't make sense. All right, here's the laptop doing the communication. And everyone will say, Ted, we don't know about this laptop. It's not in our RMM system. It's not in the inventory. We don't know about it. Bingo, we just found Shadow IT doing something. We're in the game. 100% visibility. All right. Next thing, this appliance is the home for all my security telemetry. Therefore, data sovereignty being super important to us, coming from the intelligence industry, your data is yours. It's cryptographically key to you. And not only is it within your boundaries, it's within your building. Very cool. All right. Now, sometimes this appliance doesn't have a place because maybe you have a location, or maybe your main office looks and feels like, a coffee shop or a fast food joint from a computer's perspective, right? There's only Wi-Fi. It could be a shared environment. We'll host the appliance for you, geolocated, no problem. All right, that's what we're doing from the inside. Good so far? I'm seeing no questions. Perfect.
Yeah, Ted, before you continue, I think it's important that we talk about a couple of examples, right? So like
Yes.
from a cloud perspective, where a new inbox rule is created, potentially for, financial redirection. We've heard
Yes.
so many stories
Mhm.
of that happening. From the network appliance perspective, once we get plugged in, we're seeing, servers that potentially might not be there. So shadow IT, we've had
Yeah.
countless stories of, around that. And then from the endpoints perspective, you brought up a great example. Maybe someone's using Screen Connect to be able to remote into their customer devices, but or
Mhm.
their devices, and you ended up seeing like a team viewer within the
Yeah.
space. So it all brings us back to the beginning and really understanding the environment and bringing to the fore everything that we can see from a visibility perspective, right? Again, what you don't know, you can't do anything about, right? So that's what we're trying to do here.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. Let me show you that example. And also, let me bring to the forefront the example of what we're seeing from the outside. So I showed you the architecture from the inside. From the outside here, when you set up, you're also putting in your domains, your email domains, public IP addresses for all the locations and staff locations, right? Which countries do your employees work from? This is incredibly interesting because we're looking from the outside as well. And Sean, I'll show you an example in a second regarding that as well, an external server. We're looking on the outside for misconfigurations. Hey, if we find a new server online, we'll tell you about it, okay? You need to know. And from an email domains perspective, we're looking on the internet for typo squatting of your domain. So when someone registers a domain similar to yours, we tell you, we're going to tell my tech, scream it on the rooftops. Hey, someone's trying to imitate you. Be careful. It could mean one of two things: a spear phishing attack on the end users, or maybe it's tell your customers to watch out for weird invoices. Someone's trying to imitate you. All that to say, we're trying to we'll be monitoring, and giving you those tickets, those AROs. That's what we call the tickets, ARO. It's the first of two acronyms. Sorry about that. We've invented two acronyms: action, recommendation, observation. They're prioritized. Okay, so actions are urgent. You do them today. Recommendations, put it on the list for next week. It could be a project. It'll improve security posture. And an observation is hey, my tech and you, we found something. It's worth a discussion. Okay. And to contextualize that before I jump in there, you see how many I have. I've got 5 things to worry about right now. Let me show you this weekly report very, very, very quickly. In this weekly report, I love this. I'm a math guy. Okay. It's a cybersecurity snapshot of you for the week. Statistics, trends across all 3 threat surfaces, what's going on. Perfect. Who cares about all those numbers? This is the only one that's important for me today. How many security events at your company this week? There's 950. How many tickets am I giving you? I'm giving you 5. So that's 945 tickets you're not getting. Is that okay? That's our job. We want to reduce the noise. And now let's go look at that example. And Sean, let's take a look at this one. Right in the middle. Here's the anatomy of a ticket. So when we're working back and forth and speaking with my tech and yourselves, we're going to tell you, hey, we found some tools for remote admin on your network. This is an example of an observation we found. And the first part, the anatomy here of a ticket is we're telling you in plain English what the problem is. And number 2, we're giving you mitigation steps. So everyone's on the same page. You know what to do to fix the problem. That's it. Easy. And if you had questions with that, because who's the security expert on the call? Field Effects, the security experts. You can reach out via request help. There's a link directly to the Cyber Concierge. Easy, right? You're the IT, we're the security, we got to communicate. And sometimes we'll tell you something and you say, hey, I have a bit of a question on that, or we need to figure it out. There's a link right inside the ARO to get back to us. Make sense? So here's the anatomy. In this example, we're saying, hey, we found some TeamViewer and some Zen Anywhere on the network. Why could this be a problem? Well, bad guys use these things all the time. We're putting context. So anyone, you're co-managed. So level 1, level 2 techs will understand here what the problem is or the potential problem. And then we'll also give you more context. In this case, where did we find these remote tools? Well, there's some IP addresses and there's some users. So Kiri, Lisbeth, Marion, Lassie are using these tools. And immediately you have full context. You can say, well, wait a second, that's our finance team. Oh, and you know what? We do use TeamViewer once a month for the accounting software. That could be completely possible. But Zen Anywhere doesn't make sense. So guess what? Now there's a big job. Everyone on the call here, our job is, mass destruction of Zen Anywhere. And so you're going to decide with yourselves and with my tech what that looks like. Who does it? But you have a plan. It's very simple. Make sense? When you fix the problem, you're going to close it in one of 2 ways. You can resolve or you can dismiss an issue. In this case, you'd be resolving it and you'd be giving us context, telling us that, hey, in this case, TeamViewer is okay, but Zen Anywhere is bad and gone. Right? And you'll let us know what you did to fix the problem. I won't be judging. You just tell me whether you're destroying laptops or uninstalling software. It's up to you. All right? And when collectively the ticket is closed, bang, it gets closed for you, but stays open for us. And why is that? That's because bad guys have in their job description come back knocking after 2 days or a few weeks. That's part of it. So we're always there in the background, right? Easy. Nice. Here's a larger example, and Sean, to your comments a while ago, let's take a look at what it feels like when we're looking at 2 threat surfaces at the same time. Okay, this is an example of us looking both at the cloud and at the endpoints at the same time. We're saying, hey, wait a second, there's an account risk, a potential credential compromise. And in this case, same anatomy, we're telling you, today, we found that Gilmore Lemke has been logging in from Nigeria, but previously was in the US, and all the details are there. You can see that's from the cloud logs, right? Nice. Long story short, traveled about 25,000 miles an hour to get there. So it's impossible travel. You get it, right? It's impossible. There you go, Nate. And
I like that. So you can learn how fast you were actually going when you did that. So that's good.
Yeah, and actually, you know that either they're using a VPN to watch Netflix Nigeria, or someone stole the account. It's kind of semi-normal behavior, or it's
Right.
extremely, extremely bad. There you go. So what we're going to tell you is, here are the mitigation steps in this case. Contact the end user, or them. If it's not expected, just reset their account immediately. Done. That's what you do to fix the problem. But the issue here, this is not a early afternoon problem on a Wednesday. This is a middle of the night problem on the weekend, right? So when you onboard, of course, on the service profile, the second thing you would have set up is your active response. Because one of the included parts of this is that we're the 24/7 SOC, and we can actively respond on your behalf. So, excuse me, when you onboard, you choose whether you're limited, balanced, or aggressive when it comes to cybersecurity risk acceptance. Okay, that equates to our level of intervention on your behalf 24/7 with that international SOC. Let's say you choose balanced. That allows us to go lock out Microsoft or Google accounts. It also allows us, for example, to isolate a server from the network or a workstation if things are going weird. Excellent. And there could be exceptions to the rule. We try and make this easy to choose, right? Choose one of three. Are you limited, balanced, or aggressive? But you could say, well, wait a second, we're balanced. But then the CEO says, no, we're aggressive. Oh, wait a second, we're balanced. I'm saying choose one. Next is you're going to say, are there any exclusions to the rule? Of course there are. And then you're going to put in here, yeah, we're balanced, but please be aggressive on the CEO's laptop, their happy clicker, and not, yeah. Just give us a post. Yeah. It's for real, right? Yeah. This is a big example all the time. And it might be all the C-level, or the exception might be, please call us before you shut down this server because it's controlling the drinking water for the whole municipality, right? That's also an example. So here, now this becomes a post-it note on the account. We build it into the analytics, but also for our team, let's say in Australia, they want to do an active response. We're going to say, are we allowed to? Yes, in a balanced way. Oh, wait a second, CEO will shut down now, ask questions later. That's how that translates. Okay.
I also, Ted, I just
ahead.
want to jump in because, you gave the example of, correlating data across two separate, the cloud and the endpoint. And I think it's super important. And we talked about it at the beginning about a siloed approach to cybersecurity. And I'm sure everyone on this call has an experience where they've had to investigate a false positive and it takes them time, right? And, it's just, why do we need to spend time in our day investigating false positives when they don't matter? That's why that, component is super important. We're able to look at multiple, threat surfaces at the same time, correlate what's going on. So we're only delivering to the teams what truly matters, right? And not stuff that's going to waste your time in your day, because you got more important things to focus on, right? Nate, I could be lying there, but
No, I think what you I love the SOC part of this. I think in particular is one of the unique components that really warrants highlighting. Right? Is that a lot of some of the feedback that we've gotten from folks is like, look, our team is too busy with other things, and I don't want an A in your vernacular, an action that is a high probability indicator of something that's bad happening, that comes while they're working on a project and they're not paying attention to it, and then now they let something slip through, like the whole. So it's not just it's the people side of it that I think is really powerful. So not only is it a time thing, like maybe I'm in the midst of a project and so I'm not paying attention to it, and that just happens to the reality of IT world sometimes. But I think the other problem is there's and again, this will, hopefully this resonates, and I'm not trying to preach to the choir here, but like, the complexity of cybersecurity and the expertise available, there's a limited number of people that have this level of expertise to be able to assess and actually execute on some of these things, and that includes internal IT teams. And so being able to leverage not just a tool to send an alert and create noise, but also engage, ask for help with instructions, or take action on my behalf, and then I'll deal with the R's and the O's, or I'll whatever, I think is super powerful. And to not just, it's not just a tool that you're talking about, it's the people support that's huge. So again, preaching to the choir probably, but I think that's the one very, very unique variable relative to this solution from Field Effect.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the people aspect of our solution is a major add. I'm glad that you brought it up, because we're an extension of not only my text team, but any of the
Right.
co-managed clients that you work with as well. So they have access to our world-class cybersecurity analysts all the time. Great point, Nate.
Thanks, Sean and Nate. You nailed it, and that's what we're here for. And here's the example of the two threat surfaces looking together. And this is why you got this action. This person lives in Atlanta. There's 1,500 logins. They travel to Madrid, Spain. Lucky them, a lot. So there's 700 logins. But an hour ago they logged in. Last login was from Nigeria. Coupled with the fact that it's a new desktop we haven't seen on your network before, I'm super suspicious we would have locked it out. And it's the same reason why you're not getting an action for Bob, who's at home with their cap locks on, right? Those are failed logins. But and Bob has problems and needs help, but it's not a cybersecurity event, right? You get it. Awesome. Thanks.
Apologies to any Bobs that are watching the webinar.
Yes. Bob's my dad. That's why I use the Bob. It's for real. It's just common thing.
We were joking about that in a security session the other day about how you always got someone that's going to be the clicker, and we're like, yeah, it's usually a Dave. So we just randomly picked Dave, but we're like, hey, and sorry for any Daves in the audience. We're not, so yeah, I think it's good putting a name to the person that we know as the happy clicker.
Yes. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. So there you go. That's our continuous improvement going back and forth. Now, team, there's 3 more things included. There's actually 4. So I'll go through those really quickly. Always open for questions and interventions here. There is a DNS firewall included. So you can set this up for category blocking of internet for on-prem computers within the network. There's also a roaming component. Today it's for Windows devices only for the known bads, the botnet malware and phishing sites, but that's being expanded to Linux and Mac and for all categories as well. Very cool. Custom allow, custom block list. It's just an extra layer. Easy. Can be used in parallel with what you're doing now with your firewalls, or not at all. It's included, use it or not. The next thing we include is our Seize plugin. Now, to be very specific, we're not a spam filter. And I think that MyTech you're using, or maybe you're enforcing a certain spam filter for your customers, or is it only the Microsoft and Google spam filters? You probably have an external one too.
We have external ones that we use, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's always a bunch of flavors of those. Well, guess what? Part of the job description of the threat actors is also to get through the spam filter, right? That's part of it. And I'll bring up this will take 2 seconds here. I'm just going to bring up the MITRE attack matrix. This is a great site to go to. We're not going to go in detail here. attack.mitre.org. Go on it on your own time. You can get lost in here. These, if you don't know this, these are the 14 stages of a cyber attack. Stage 14 is impact. That's where I'm getting encrypted. And of course, we're saving you there. We have an agent. The EDR within the agent is going to block the bad stuff for sure. However, when my agent finds TeamViewer and Zen Anywhere, and you, in conjunction with MyTech, go and fix the Zen Anywhere problem and move on, we just found threat actors at stage 5 at persistence. That's way before an encryption event. And when I'm looking on the internet and find a typo squatted domain and tell you about it, as you saw in the config, we just found threat actors at stage 2 at resource development. They haven't even touched the network yet. That's very holistic. And we know right here's phishing in the middle of initial access. That's where they're going to bypass the spam filter. That's their job. You need a spam filter. Okay, you need the spam filter. But what we're concentrating on is post-spam filter activity for the end user. And what that looks like, and I'm going to show you my Outlook. The Field Effects Seize program sits within the tenant of Microsoft or Google. It's also a plugin within my Outlook. And here's a simple example. Andrew Hunter, who sends me this email, and actually I'll go over to the English language one. Sorry. Here we go. It says, "Hey Ted, hope you're okay. Send me your, review this document. We're going to talk in an hour." So I go and open the document. I didn't see the external do not click banner. Why didn't I see that? I'm not a bad user, I swear. It's just I'm desensitized to that banner, right? That's normal. This is real life. I'm going fast. I missed the banner. super suspicious. I'm going to click on the C's program and suspicious email analysis service. And there's 3 questions for the end user. Did you click any links? No. Did you open any documents? Yes. You don't get points for lying. The more you tell me, the more we can help. Did you put a password? Remove from my inbox and submit to field effect. This will bypass your team. It'll bypass my text team. It'll come straight to us. And we're going to analyze it and get right back to you whether it's suspicious, likely safe, or malicious. And if it were malicious, you'd have an action. You'd have a ticket to work on. We're all on the case. Okay? Excellent. Now, there's 2 problems here with my C's program. And I know Sean and Nate and team do not like when I mention problems with our solution. But I'm the SE, so I can do that. The first problem is an education piece. You must teach the end user about the existence of the C's program. Now, that's normal. That problem is solved by everyone on the call. Easy. Second problem here, those who should use the C's program will never use it. Those are the people who will click 20 times on a gift card, but never on a cyber tool in their lifetime. And that's real. Like, I'm not lying here. This is like, it's real life. So if I go back,
it's like you've worked in cybersecurity for a while, Ted.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. But you get it, right? This is like, of the 6 major things, so of the 12 to 15 tools we're working on here, I'm of course giving a tool to the end user because they're part of the team on the fight against cybercrime. And we do hope over time and with education, they're going to use it for sure. Okay, 2 more major things, and I'm going to show you some reports. Next is we're giving an endpoint devices view to everyone on the call. Now, since you're co-managed, patch management is probably a shared responsibility, I would imagine. Would you agree, Nate and team?
It depends. It depends on what the client would ask for. Sometimes they ask us to handle it. Sometimes they want to just use a tool to handle it themselves and escalate. So it depends on what they're looking for.
Right. And I've seen sometimes where, hey, we'll take care of workstations, you take care of servers. I get it. I get it. So here I'm giving you a risk level of each endpoint, Mac, Linux, or Windows. Everywhere you have an agent, you have a critical, high, medium, or normal rating on your endpoints. Now, I consider this a second opinion on how patch management's going. All right. It's more than that. It's a full-time vulnerability scan. We're looking at every piece of software on the planet because we're considering all CVEs in the database that's created by MITRE and held by NIST. So if I went to my risk category and forget my unpatched operating systems or end-of-life OSs, let's just look at vulnerable software. Now I'm down to 3 or so devices. I can click into Glover's Windows 10, which is rated critical. What's going on here? Well, Wireshark's on the list. Adobe's on the list. Adobe is part of my third-party patch policy. Why isn't that patched up? Well, probably they missed a reboot. That's an easy one, right? So that's an easy fix. Wireshark's not on my third-party patch list. Well, neither is Ruby. It's about full visibility, okay? And what can go wrong with patching, right? You have 18,000 patches to worry about. You have 5 maintenance windows, including finding which patches are necessary, getting them downloaded, getting them to the devices, scheduling an install, and possibly scheduling a reboot. This is state of the union. What we're not going to do is give you a ticket, give you an A, an R, or an O for every patch you're missing, because that would be a lot of noise, right? Maybe in the beginning, but not. We're not going to do that because that's all we would do all day. Missing a patch, you're missing a patch, you're missing a patch. What we will do is give you a monthly overview to say, hey, here are the devices missing patches. Here are the end-of-life OSs. You can make sense of that. It's an exportable CSV. But remember, if there's an urgent patch being exploited in the wild, you'll get an A. You'll get an action saying, forget your 18,000 patches. Do this one today or you're going to have a really bad weekend, a worse Monday morning. So helping prioritize.
Yeah, the Screen Connect vulnerability is a great example of that, Ted, right? Like
Yes,
we were notifying
absolutely.
our partners immediately of that vulnerability being exploited in the wild. So that's a good example.
Absolutely. And even taking some Screen Connect servers offline, isolating them from the network to keep them from, for sure. Okay, that's my endpoint devices, full-time vulnerability scan. Now, on the last thing I want to show you here are the reports. I can show you blocking ransomware. Is that interesting? Is that showing an EDR block could be fun?
Sure. Yeah. Let's do a technical
Okay.
deep dive on it. Let's
All right.
let's go deep.
All right. So
I mean, we are running a little longer than we usually do, just to put a little commentary on it. But I mean, yeah, that sounds like something people don't want to have happen. So let's show it.
Okay. I'm flipping over to a detonation chamber. This is a VM where I'm allowed to launch ransomware without losing my job. So I've got this Windows 10. It's not fully patched. Like there's my browser, needs an update. I've got Seth, who's our HR person, Seth Hatlenois, giving me this new work from home policy update. I trust Seth implicitly, so I'm going to just open this document. But unbeknownst to Seth, it's going to try and encrypt me. And we'll see what happens here. I'm either safe or I'm not. And it turns out that we've just stopped ransomware in its tracks. Okay, what happened? That was the most exciting part of the entire demo, everyone.
I blinked. I missed it.
Yeah, what you got is that Word was trying to open up PowerShell. Now, this is not something we would normally be blocking when my tech's running PowerShell, because that's a completely normal thing for technicians and MSPs to do. Awesome. But when Word tries to open up PowerShell, that's really bad. Okay, that's not supposed to happen. So what we're going to do here is we're going to alert, and you'll get an ARO on it. And I'll just show you what that ARO looks like. And I'm going to show you some beautiful report after on the dark web monitoring, and we're kind of done. So when we do block something urgent, what you're going to see is something like this. Malicious document detected. Hey, what happened is we detected, blocked, and terminated some stuff. Okay, there's the security context. What is the stuff? Well, here's the series of events that happened. There was a user called administrator, that was in my demo environment, on a computer called Block, opening up this work from home policy update that spawned the program Word. Up to now, we're okay. The sequence of events works, checks out, everything's cool. But Word tried to open up PowerShell. That's bad. That's why we blocked it. Not only that, but PowerShell was trying to open up an encoded command. Double bad. Nothing good happening there. There's the process chain. There's the definitions of the files in question. Living off the land, right? Those are like valid definitions. No AV would have blocked any of that. There's the MITRE TTPs in use. There's your full analytics. There's the full root cause analysis of the issue. If law enforcement needs it, insurance needs it, anyone, you have the full story. There you go. Okay. Last thing. Some of you may need to like to report on cybersecurity on a monthly basis. Raise of hands if you do. Okay. I've got 5 reports. I'm going to show you 2 very quickly. One is my monthly summary. And this is what I like to give to the bosses, right? This is my 1-pager. It's actually 3 pages, but if I can get away with the first page, that's all I give them. There it is, 4 sections. It's dead simple. It always compares to last month. And it has, what's my cybersecurity posture? Am I improving? Yes or no? Green is good. Thanks very much. We'll talk to you next month. That's all they really want to know. Those are the 6 major categories, which includes the 10 to 15 tools here that we're covering. Any key insights, and there's the analytics, right? 1,435 security events down to 6 tickets. That's the ratio. And of those 6 tickets, 5 were more urgent, but it's 4 less than the previous month. I'm improving. Thanks very much. Okay. That's my minimalistic report. The new report that has just come out, we've got dark web monitoring. This is an included monthly look at the domains you've included on your setup from a dark web perspective. So we're doing constant dark web monitoring. Once a month, you get this report that gives you a 1 to 100 score, 100 being extremely bad, of where you are. In this example, this customer is an 89 out of 100. Why is that? Well, because we found 113 records on the dark web. Whoa. We're looking at 4 major categories: clear text passwords, encrypted passwords, financial data, and email and other PII. All right. And as you go down the report, you'll see the different tables. There's my clear text password, including the breach name and the passwords that were found. That's pretty scary. Let's go down to the next section. There's my encrypted passwords. Okay. Credit card supplemental. I don't want to see my CVV number on this list. Okay. Next, you get some banking information, and then it'll go on to other PII, social insurance numbers, zip codes, full names, full addresses. You get it. Everything people are asking for to confirm identity, right? Date of birth, etc. Does that make sense? There you go. I can go on, like I said, for 7 hours. Nate, thank you for letting me go so long on this.
No, it's good. So I have a question. I'm just curious.
Please.
So on the dark web side, we've struggled with this candidly, not with field effect, but like in general, it feels like what actions do you take from this, right? Because oftentimes when you see this stuff, it's from a breach from 5 years ago, and like
Yes.
I've changed my password since then. I've changed my credit card since then. So it's like, who cares? Forgive me for being blunt, but like, so
Okay.
what would the recommended action that you see, or give me a use case where you see like, okay, I get this report on a monthly basis. What should I be looking for, and what would be my recommended action?
Okay, good question, Nate. The information contained in this report is only for this month. It's only for the past month. It's always compared to the previous one.
So it's not gathering stuff from 10 years ago, a breach or whatever.
Yeah, that's
got it. Okay.
It's a big consideration. Like, what's the value of me telling you in 2016 you were part of a breach? It's like,
right,
oh my
exactly.
gosh. Yeah, not worth it. Who cares? You got it.
Right.
So anything that does pop up on this list, it could be someone who's no longer employed with us. It could be something that needs attention. You're going to really want to look at this because it's actual information in the past month. Now, there is an upgrade to do because the monthly report comes out free for everybody, and that's retroactive to anyone who's part of our system gets this. However, there is a daily, like a continuous dark web scanning available, which will also produce AROs, tickets for you to say, hey, bam, we just found something on the dark web with regards to your environment. You got to take action right now. And that could mean a bunch of things, as you can imagine.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. That helps with some context, because because there's just so much information out there, right? It's like the noise thing. You're reducing the noise to the last month, so that makes sense. So it should be more timely and potentially actionable versus just something that doesn't surprise me at all, because of course nearly all of us have something out there from the past.
Sure. Yeah, if you're connected to internet, and probably, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for the time. For those of you who watch live, as well as those watching in the future, this has been. We're excited about our partnership with Field Effect. They're solving these problems in a unique way, and in a way that's value added. I truly believe, right, with the people side of this 24/7 SOC. That's been a huge gap in especially small and medium businesses where they can't afford have to employ a whole team of people that all they do is SOC related services. And so we love your solution and the way it can help solve some of those problems. So thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you again. We're going to reschedule these, or reschedule is not the right word, but continue to do these monthly with different partners. And as just like time marches on, things change, things update. We're going to invite you guys back to share what's going on new. What are some cool feature sets that people don't often take advantage of, or what's some recommended configurations? We want to make sure that we can do some more technical deep dives with you in the months to come. So yeah, thank you very much for your time. And for those of you watching, if you want to have any conversations about this, please reach out. Please join our IT Leaders Collaborative on LinkedIn, is where we're going to be posting and sharing and commenting and asking questions for this stuff. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you all again soon.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody. Take care.
Ciao.